Welcome to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. And now, it's time for our story. Once upon a time, there was an archerfish named Sugwon. Sugwon the archerfish was a small archerfish. He was always on the move and loved to shoot water at the birds that flew low close to the waters. While all the other archerfish were shooting water at insects on branches, Sugwon would want to try getting birds instead. He would never get one, but it was fun for him to try. One day, he was just randomly shooting water up into the air to see how high he could shoot when he accidentally shot a hummingbird with water. It knocked the hummingbird out of the air, and the hummingbird fell, but caught itself on a mangrove branch. "Hey," said the hummingbird, "what in all the wetlands was that?" Sugwon the archerfish said, "Oh, oops. Sorry, Miss Hummingbird, ma'am. I really didn't mean to shoot you with water. I was just shooting water into the air, and it hit you by accident. Are you okay?" The hummingbird said, "Yes, I'm okay. Please be careful. I haven't had a bird bath in a few days, so I'm fine. It was actually refreshing, but just took me by surprise because, I wasn't expecting that." Sugwon said, "I'm so glad you're okay. I'll try not to be so irresponsible next time. Thanks for understanding and being kind." The hummingbird said, "No worries. Oh no, I'm late. I gotta go. There's a big event happening soon." And the hummingbird flew away. Sugwon looked up at the sky. The sun was almost at its highest point. "Uh-oh, I gotta get going too," he said. "I can't be late for this one." And Sugwon the archerfish swam the same direction of the hummingbird. Sugwon was on his way to a big competition. He was one of 3 archerfish that were in a competition to win a big prize. And as Sugwon the archerfish got to where he needed to go, he and the other archerfish were all gathered in a clearing inside of a mangrove forest. It was hot and humid. It was a hot and humid day, and the archerfish went under the shades of the mangrove trees to get away from the sun. Sugwon said to himself, "Oh my, the sun is unbearable. Why couldn't we do this on another day when it's cooler?" The sun was beating down on the water, and there were insects flying and crawling around everywhere. The group of archerfish were all together, and they were all different sizes and colors, but they all had one thing in common. They were all very good at shooting water. Now all kinds of animals gathered around the clearing inside the mangrove forest and were watching from within the water and from the surrounding trees. Animals from all over the land, sky, and water were coming around to see something. Then, all the archerfish got out from under the shade and swam in a line and stopped. They were waiting too. Sugwon was not the best at waiting. He was always on the move, and waiting in a line was hard for him. "I hope this will be over soon," said Sugwon the archerfish. "I'm sure I'll be out before everyone else here." And all the animals waited and waited. And right when the sun was at its highest point of the day, a proboscis monkey swung above them and landed on a big tree in the middle of the clearing in the mangrove forest and made a big announcement.
"Today's competition, we will see which of these archerfish is the best water shooter in the mangrove forest. Over here, we have some bugs on this big mangrove tree I'm sitting on, and we have our frog judges to mark how high each archerfish shoots today. The archerfish with the highest shot from this big tree will win today's competition. Today, we have 2 rounds. In the first round, the archerfish with the lowest shot is out of the competition. In the second round, the highest shot will win the prize of a big, juicy beetle."
The animals all cheered. Then the archerfish swam to the big tree the proboscis monkey was sitting on, and they all waited for their turn. For the first round of the competition, the first fish to take a shot was Sugwon. He was the smallest of all the archerfish there. He knew he had to get an insect, but he didn't want to miss because it was too high. So he aimed at an insect, not too close from him, but also not too far from him. He focused carefully on an insect and then steadied himself. And then he shot and knocked down an ant from a branch. The animals in the forest cheered. One of the frog judges climbed to the spot on the tree and marked where the ant got hit. The next archerfish came. This archerfish was big. Sugwon said, "Oh my, this archerfish is so big, I bet it can shoot down a heron." And this big archerfish aimed and shot and got a spider that was higher than Sugwon's ant on the tree. The animals in the forest cheered, and another frog judge climbed to the spot to mark it. Sugwon said to himself, "Okay, here we go. I'm sure this third archerfish is gonna get higher than me. I guess I'll never have that juicy beetle." The third archerfish came and was a little bit bigger than Sugwon, but not as big as the second archerfish. It was swimming around in circles, warming up and getting ready for the shot. "Yup," said Sugwon. "This one is definitely a pro. I'm out after this one for sure." Then the third archerfish came up and aimed, and all the animals watched. Then the archerfish shot, and it wasn't a very good aim at all, and didn't even hit anything. Sugwon was surprised. So were all the other animals. The third archerfish looked sad. But then, all the animals cheered anyways. This made the third archerfish feel better as it swam away. The proboscis monkey said,
"Okay, animals. It's getting really hot here, so let's finish this fast, okay? For our second round of the competition, it's down to 2 fish, Sugwon and a big archerfish. And since Sugwon went first the round before, the big archerfish gets to go first on this round."
And the animals cheered, and the big archerfish swam up to the big mangrove tree. And it aimed up high. And at the last moment, the sun was so bright, it couldn't see very well, and it shot and hit a dragonfly a little higher than the highest mark on the tree. And the animals all cheered again. The proboscis monkey saw all of this and said,
"Wow, the mangrove forest hasn't seen this much excitement since the last tsunami."
Another frog judge went and marked the shot on the tree. Then it was now Sugwon the archerfish's turn. Now he was up against a bigger archerfish, and it already shot higher, twice above his first shot. Sugwon said to himself, "Okay, I guess I have no other choice than to do the best that I can." And just then, Sugwon the archerfish heard another animal cheering. He looked, and he saw the hummingbird he shot by accident. The hummingbird was shouting, "Yay! Let's go! You can definitely beat the big archerfish." The hummingbird was right. Sugwon the archerfish was able to shoot the hummingbird up high and knock it down, even though it was by accident. So for him, shooting up higher than the big archerfish was possible. He's done it before. So Sugwon steadied himself, and he aimed up high, and he fired his shot. The water jet shot up into the glaring sun, and it hit a grasshopper that was on a tree branch higher than all of the big archerfish's marks, and the grasshopper even fell into the water. The animals all cheered, and a frog judge went even higher up the tree to mark Sugwon the archerfish's shot. Seogwon had won the competition. The animals all cheered for Seogwon, and he swam over to collect his prize, the big, juicy beetle. After Seogwon won the competition, fish from all over came and gathered around him. They were all congratulating him on his victory, and they all wanted to learn from him. Seogwon the Archerfish was happy to share all his knowledge with the other fish, and he continued to practice his water shooting skills every day so he can get better and better. And he was able to hit insects that were even higher up in the trees. And in time, Seogwon the Archerfish became a legendary water shooter in the mangrove forest. And the Archerfish lived happily ever after. The end. Archerfish are a type of fish known for shooting a powerful stream of water droplets from their mouths to capture their food, which are usually small insects and other small animals. They're also called pistol fish and spinner fish. Archerfish have elongated bodies, and their heads are pointed and their mouths are large. They are commonly colored silver to white, with a few dark bands going vertical on their body, which help them camouflage in the mangrove forests underwater. They are diurnal, meaning they're mostly active during the day, and when they rest, they are motionless while settling into the mangrove roots at night. Archerfish are small, about 5 to 7 inches in length, but they can grow up to 16 inches. Archerfish are predators that capture insects and small animals by shooting water from their mouths that hit their prey and knock them into the water where they can eat them. The archerfish hunts by following its prey and focusing on them with their eyes, and their lips break the surface of the water and shoots a stream of water to its prey. They do this by forming a small groove on the roof of their mouths, and with its tongue creates a channel, kind of like a tube, and then it fires by contracting its gills and forcing water through that channel. And the water is shaped by the mouth, and the water travels faster at the end of the stream than the beginning, which kind of makes it into a blob before it hits the prey. And they're very persistent too, so if they can't hit it with the first shot, they'll try again, and even jump out of the water if they need to. Archerfish can shoot a stream of water that goes up to 5 feet with great accuracy. Archerfish are not born with an instinct to shoot the water. Rather, they learn from other fish when they're younger, and their accuracy develops over time. Archerfish are very smart. They can be trained to recognize a 3-dimensional rendering of human faces, and they can determine one face from a different face. In one study, archerfish were able to identify familiar faces from a lineup of 44 different faces, and they were correct over 80% of the time. Archerfish have very good focus and eyesight, which allows them to shoot with accuracy, even while their eyes are underwater and their mouths shoot from the surface of the water. And for those of you who are amazed at science, that means that their eyes don't correct for the light refraction in the water, so they have to learn to adjust to this. There are 9 different types of species of archerfish, with most living in freshwater and a few living in brackish water near the coast. Archerfish are mainly found in Southeast Asia and in the Philippines, Indonesia, Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, and New Guinea, as well as Northern Australia. The archerfish's predators are humans, larger fish, and birds. Have you seen a real-life archerfish before? If you have, where did you see it? Thanks for listening to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. Until next time, bye!